Shalom from California. This is Amir. It is still dark outside, as you can see, although it's 6 a.m. here. I wanted to come live on Facebook here and give you a short update of the last 24 hours. And no, I'm not talking about the EMP drill. Let's put that charade aside. I'll explain to you what happened with that one in a few minutes, but let's talk about the more important things and the actual things that are actually happening in this epicenter of the world, in the Middle East, in Israel. Yesterday, close to 10 p.m. Israel time, Israeli jets attacked two targets. One is next to Damascus and the other one next to the city of Homs, towards the center of Syria, and the target was a weapon cache, a weapon storage of Hezbollah in Syria. But for more and more reports that we get, the place is actually full of Iranian activity right now. Iranian activity that has to do with industry, that part of it supports the construction of missiles. In that industrial, semi-industrial area near Homs, there were factories built by Iran of Iranian companies. Part of them are for the car industries, and other parts are to support missile constructions over there. So Israel destroyed it at the same time Vladimir Putin was visiting the Iranian President Khamenei in Tehran, and at the same time the leader of the Hezbollah, Nasrallah, was sitting in a meeting with the deputy chief of Hamas. So you see that the Palestinian Hamas and the Iranians on the two sides, and you see that the Hezbollah is basically the proxy of Iran, but is the connection of Iran to the Palestinians. And we see a great Russian involvement in that area. So you understand, the attack was marking a red line, basically, to both the Hezbollah and the Iranians, and I believe was well also for the Russians who are all around, to understand that we will definitely not tolerate Iranian presence in Syria when it comes to military and preparations for attack on Israel. As you can see, this is not the first time it happens, but this is the first time it happens while Putin is in Tehran, and Nasrallah is meeting in Beirut with the Palestinian counterpart. The idea is very simple. Israel will not allow neither the Hezbollah nor Iran to create another front on the Syrian side. But the thing that I wanted to really emphasize in this update is that during the meeting between Putin and Khamenei, Khamenei actually said to Putin that together Russia and Iran can isolate America, can actually push America aside. And in a TV broadcast as a few hours ago, Khamenei said, America is our #1 enemy. And of course, I know that all the left liberals are going to say immediately, that's what happens when Donald Trump speaks so harshly against Iran. But let me remind you that a day after Obama signed the Iran deal, there was a march in the streets of Tehran where they shouted, death to America, death to Israel, and they literally trampled on an American flag which was on the floor. So the Iran deal didn't change a bit the animosity that the Iranians have towards America. Now, some of you might ask, why is it that the Iranians hate America so much? This is now where Israel gets into the picture. You see, they call America the big Satan and Israel small Satan, but remember, Bible prophecy is all about Israel. it's around Israel. It's because of what God is doing for Israel and through Israel. And for Christ to come back, Israel has to be there. And he will come back, remember, in his second coming to the Jewish people as well. So the idea is very simple. Iran, in order to get rid of Israel, has to remove first America. And we see that in the scriptures. We see that the minute Russia and Iran in Ezekiel will attack Israel, it is when America cannot retaliate or cannot respond. America in Ezekiel is not even a side in this war. And therefore, I conclude that the war that Ezekiel talked about is a war that will come after Iran and Russia will make sure that America is isolated. And I know that everybody's bracing towards some sort of confrontation with North Korea. I know that there's a massive naval presence right off the coast of North Korea with American naval battleship. And in Guam, they increased the ammunition there in at least 10%. And I know that they have moved F-35s to the region. And I know that there is the EMP drill. And by the way, the EMP drill is not an EMP attack. It's not an electromagnetic pulse attack. It's an assimilation of it. I think that the confusion that people had is that the original announcement was that it's going to be a national power grid disability. And then, of course, in the website of the amateur radio community, it actually says notional, not national, which means it's not going to be a real shutdown of the power grid. Well, whether it's notional or national, it doesn't matter. America understand, and you can look online for the Senate hearing on the EMP attack. America is bracing towards an EMP attack that might come from North Korea. But personally, I believe that we need to listen carefully to what the Iranians are saying and how much the Russians are not even responding or saying anything about that. Because North Korea will never touch America if they feel that America will not do anything to them. The North Koreans don't have a religious agenda. All they want is to survive. They believe that the only option for them to survive is if they equip themselves with enough weapons that will ensure that nobody will try to mess up with them. That's what it's all about. It's called survival. And for them, as long as they get the assurances that America is not going to attack, they will not do anything first. Unlike Iran. The Iranians attacked America more than once in different parts of the world. And Iran has a religious agenda. Islamic Jihad is not something that tolerates the existence of such an entity called America. You saw that with terror attacks in New York. You can see that in terror attacks all across Europe. They hate the West. They hate the culture. They hate everything that is represented with freedom and democracy. They want to impose their Sharia law. They want to impose their way of thinking, their way of life. And so we must understand that if I have to decide who is posing a much greater risk to America, let me tell you something. Iran is way more dangerous to America than North Korea. That's my opinion. I don't even see North Korea in Bible prophecy. I do see Iran. I do see Russia. And I believe that North Korea may serve as a smokescreen to that which the Iranians might be preparing. So these are the two things that I wanted to talk about in this very short update. Tensions are rising also in southern Israel over the destruction of the tunnel. The death toll of the terrorists there is now risen to 20 almost. And the Islamic Jihad, the one that dug the tunnel and is counting its dead right now, is furious because that which they counted as their biggest achievement eventually turned into a cemetery for them, a graveyard for them. So, and they don't know how to contain this whole anger, and they're threatening on rocket attack on Israel, and they know that Israel will not sit and do nothing. Israel will immediately retaliate, and I don't think anyone wants any escalation in southern Israel, in the part of Gaza Strip, and so we're going to see how things are going to play around. It's interesting because whenever the Iranians and using their proxy, the Hezbollah, are meeting with Hamas, it's never about any peaceful thing. It's not about peaceful solution. It's not about peaceful situation. It's all about how do we make sure that you get into a war with Israel, a military confrontation in Israel. It's all about killing and attacking and destroying. This is what it's all about. So Israel made it very clear through our channels of communication to Hamas via the Egyptians that we will not tolerate anything that might come from their territory. All we did is basically we defended ourselves when we destroyed a tunnel that came all the way to our territory. We actually destroyed the part that within our territory, but because so many terrorists were all inside and so many explosives were all inside, that was the reason for that high death toll. This is it, guys. It's a short update on the latest Israeli attack in Syria and the latest remarks of the Iranian president regarding America. And as I said, biblically, looking at things, I would be more concerned if I was an American from Iran than North Korea. As I said, Iran has a religious agenda, and North Korea only wants to survive. And so I'm not a big fan of the North Koreans, but I'm just saying they won't touch the Americans if they don't feel that they're about to be destroyed by the Americans, whereas Iran don't need that. Iran will do what they need to do in order to push their religious agenda, and that's a big difference. And we can see that once America will be paralyzed, that's when Iran and Russia will make their move. So I just wanted to update you, and from California, praying and hoping for a peaceful weekend. Thank you, shalom, and God bless you. Bye-bye.